Hi, it's Dave here. This is my wife, Kathy.
Hello.
This is the Cinemile. It's the podcast where we walk home from the movies. Today we're going to go see a movie with our kids. It's called If. It's written and directed by Jonathan Krasinski, starring Ryan Reynolds and a load of CG imaginary creatures. Kathy, how are you feeling about this?
Well, the kids are excited because we went to see
Kung Fu Panda 4
right? Last weekend. Didn't make a podcast about it.
Give us your quick mini review. I wasn't there. You took the boys.
Fine. I had a brief nap. I predicted the entire plot at the beginning of the movie. And
did it play out as expected?
It's nothing to write home about or indeed make a podcast about. But when we went to see it, the ad for If came on and the kids were really excited about it. So
okay.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I think it looks nice and creative, and I'm a big fan of John Krasinski.
Nailed it.
And I'm interested to see him writing and directing a movie.
Have you not seen A Quiet Place? You haven't, have you?
I haven't, no.
No, we did that on this podcast. I did it with my friends Lee and Andy back in England years ago.
So yeah, I missed A Quiet Place. I'm here for If.
It's a good movie.
To me, this is directorial debut.
Fantastic.
Yeah. What about you?
It's not his directorial debut. I don't want to see this.
Oh.
I don't. I saw the trailer. I hate it. I don't know. So I'm going in with a massive prejudice.
Why?
I don't know what. I don't know.
The trailer's sweet.
I don't know. Do you want me to dig it? Do you want to get into the therapy session?
No.
I just had an aversion to this.
Well, it's interesting because you didn't see the trailer with our kids who got really excited, so we've different vibes. But
I am not in any way going to impinge on their experience. I will go in eyes wide open. I don't know. Am I just sick of Ryan Reynolds?
That is a problem.
Am I just like...
It is a problem because I love Ryan Reynolds, but when I saw him in the trailer, I was a bit like, oh. And look, I just think both him and Ryan Gosling are completely overexposed. It doesn't help they're both called Ryan, both kind of look alike.
They're both in the cinema now.
They're both, yeah, like...
We haven't seen Fall Guy yet.
I would like if someone else was starring in it, but that is not going to turn me off the movie because I do like him. Right, we need to go...
I just feel like, the not Fall Guy, but the other, Free Guy. He keeps... Ryan Reynolds seems to be just churning out these sort of insipid... Like,
well, you've no reason to think this is
no, I
insipid.
don't. But I don't. This is the before I've seen it section where we acknowledge our own prejudices that exist. Anyone who says they go into a movie completely devoid of biases or prejudice is lying. I'm bringing some negativity to this. I don't know why. I cannot help it, and I will do my best to overcome it. And I hope I enjoy it.
Okay, I hope you enjoy it too. Scrooge. You're not the one to sit through Kung Fu Panda 4 last week.
I think I'd rather see Kung Fu Panda 4.
Alright, let's go and see If, and we should be back after we've watched it.
See you soon.
What if I told you imaginary friends are real? And when their kids grow up, they're forgotten.
Are any of them scary?
Worse. Desperate.
Question, why did these kids forget about us in the first place?
Last week, I just started falling apart. Oh.
You're sucking the oxygen out of the room.
Honestly, Doc, if this is how it's going to be, I'm just going to wheel myself back and plug in.
We've started a matchmaking agency to help Ifs find new kids.
Or we just disappear.
Blue. Happy place, happy place.
Oh, coffee and croissants. Coffee and croissants.
I can help you.
How?
Because I'm a kid.
You are the chosen one.
No. Let's not give her a complex.
Good luck, short stack. It's all up to you. No pressure. Hook and dagger! Hope this works.
All right, let's find these Ifs some kids.
Cheat!
Hi, we're back. We have now seen If with our kids. They're not with us. We're just going to give you our non-spoiler thoughts on this movie until we turn to Spoiler Street, as always. Which you will receive fair warning about. So, Kathy, non-spoiler thoughts on the movie If.
So we went with a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old. A lot of this movie is live action.
There are children, by the way, just to be clear.
There are children, yeah.
We didn't just pick a 4-year-old.
Yeah, we didn't. But I have to say now, our kids have watched a lot of movies, so like they're very good at sitting down and watching long movies. I felt the 4-year-old got a little bit bored when the creatures weren't on screen, but he still said he really liked it. 6-year-old really liked it, so they were both big fans, which I think is always worth noting on a kids film. And they kind of after the film were like, who was your favourite imaginary friend, and like which one would they want? So like it definitely captured their imagination. They loved it.
Also, a quick note, I watched The Incredibles 2 at home with them on Disney Plus yesterday, and the small one, Elliot, asked his brother Oscar, which did you prefer, Incredibles 2 or If?
Oh,
which
really?
is a question I've never heard. I don't think anyone anticipated ask. He said If. So I don't know, is it recency bias or...
yeah, they'll usually prefer the thing they've just seen.
I think so, yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I was really... I think within the first 2 minutes I cried. And I cried for majority throughout the movie. I kept crying. I love that John Krasinski has the kind of power and leverage he has in Hollywood, and that he's using it to make a magical kids film that has a slow pace, which it does, and it has a lot of live action and a lot of big ideas around imagination. And I love that, because I think kids films are so often overly pacey, full of too many jokes, kind of unimaginative actually in an area that they should be really imaginative in. And I love that he's doing this with his power, because it takes a lot of leverage to get a film like this even made, right? We know that. It's based on an original,
a new idea.
Original, almost unheard of, to be honest, in the kids movie where we spend a lot of time, and it's not like Pixar or one of those kind of studios.
Do you want to do a one sentence or 2 sentence sort of description of what this movie is for anyone who doesn't know?
Basically, IF means like imaginary friends, and it's a film about, and I don't really want to spoil anything, but a film about these imaginary friends whose kids have grown up, so kind of shades of Toy Story to it. Their kids have grown up, they no longer need them, and the imaginary friends are like seeking new kids, right? That's kind of, without spoiling it.
Yeah.
So I loved the central idea. I think it was super creative. I really enjoyed the film. I found it very emotional. Like at times I found it a bit slow, but I don't mind that, because I think things are too fast paced for kids, and I think it does them all good to like just sit with the story for a while and have a slow story happening on screen. So overall I'm really positive about it, and I've 1 or 2 quibbles, and I'll get to on Spoiler Street.
Fantastic. Okay.
And Ryan Reynolds was fine. I had no issue with him.
Gotcha.
Sorry, one more thing.
Go.
The young girl was amazing. Loved her.
She was very good.
She was really good.
She's a lot to carry.
Yeah, she really does. Yeah, John Krasinski. She plays John Krasinski's daughter. And I thought she was brilliant. Right, Dave, what did you think?
She's the main character for sure, and I think she did a great job, the actress. Okay, I'm going to apply a number of caveats up front before I say anything. Number 1, I agree with you wholeheartedly that I welcome that there is that John Krasinski is out there getting original ideas made and writing original ideas when he has the sort of status where he could just easily be cashing in on existing IP or playing Captain America or whatever he almost did. He could be sitting that out and writing comfortably. He's not. He's clearly he's bursting with ideas. A Quiet Place, If, who knows what else.
There's a Quiet Place 2 coming out.
No, there's a Quiet Place 3 coming out. It's a prequel.
Oh,
Quiet Place 2 already came out. So I welcome that he's doing that in a category that is completely saturated with sequels and IP. So good, big tick, and I welcome that. Number 2, the other caveat is that the other caveat I'm going to apply is that, because I know you're going to throw this back in my face. Yes, I did cry.
I knew you'd cry.
I cried.
We had the kids between us, but I knew you were crying.
I wept like throughout a lot of this movie, but I do not think it's a good movie. And so I'm. This is my caveat to you, Kathy, is that you cannot throw this back into my face as an indication of the success of this movie or it being a good movie, because I think those tears were like coerced out of me, manipulated out of me because of my own baggage that I brought to this movie, my own position as both a father and someone who's lost a father, and the fact that it is just playing with incredibly sensitive emotional topics. Okay, so I don't think the film itself around those ideas is good, but nonetheless, I was bawling crying. Okay?
Okay.
Here's why I don't think this movie is good. I think that it is great. It is a good idea. There's some good ideas in here. And I welcome that they did a load of new creature designs. They tried to invent a whole new world here, but I just don't think any of it hangs together. I think this movie is very lifeless.
I agree. In some scenes that should have been jumping out of the screen, they just didn't for some reason.
It's very limp. It's none of the kind of jokes are firing. None of the sort of character moments are really firing. I never really had a sure sense of footing when it came to the world building, which I think is an issue. In that I never really sensed what the rules were in this place. We'll talk about that more in spoilers. And I never really got a sense of the real motivation or drive, which I think is really lacking for the main characters in this movie. There is no goal. There are no real objectives. There are a few, but they change from scene to scene.
It's not a business meeting,
Well, no, this is just an issue for me. I couldn't get a grasp on what we're trying to do here, and there were also no challenges presented. Do you know what I mean? There was no real obstacles, so it's very just limp and lifeless, and then it just kind of ends. So I think I admire the sincerity and the sweetness of this. I think John Krasinski's heart is in the right place, and I really am glad that he made this movie, and it really worked for our kids. So that's the main audience. But for me, no, it's just I've seen much better family films. I mean, if you look at, if Paddington is the gold standard of this category, this is nowhere near that level of imaginative and creativity.
The only thing that has in common with Paddington, though, is that they're both for younger audiences. I don't think they are in the same category 100%. This is firmly a family movie. This is intended to entertain both the kids and the grown-ups. Right? This has real... So that is the audience. We are all the audience. And I don't think it has done enough. Paddington's not original, though. Like, Paddington is... we all know Paddington. This is an original film.
Yes. And
so I'm not sure.
I refer to my original caveat. Right. Respect that. Nonetheless, the execution of Paddington and Wonka...
look, Wonka, I would say...
far superior to this.
But in my head, I had Wonka feelings at this movie. Funnily, before we get to spoilers, in the opening credits you might not have noticed, but it said choreographer Mandy Moore. Do you remember where we encountered this choreographer before?
Mandy, is she Mandy Moore, the singer?
We had this exact conversation before La La Land, and we were like, it's not, it's a different person
it's
called
Mandy Moore. Okay.
So when her name popped up, I got really excited because I was anticipating like La La level dance scenes.
I thought it was going to be a musical. I thought we had another a secret musical where Hollywood doesn't want to market.
No, I don't mind that it's not a musical, but the dance scene that was there didn't do it for me.
No.
And then one thing before we get to spoilers, I do want to give a warning here. If you are going to bring your kids to it, or like indeed you're going to it, just a warning that this film does have parental loss. It's done a very light touch to the point where like our kids actually didn't notice it. It's a universal rating, but an older kid would notice that a parent dies.
Always check IFCO or BBFC or wherever you're local.
So that is in there. So just so you know, before you bring a kid to it. Right, will we go to Spoiler Street?
Okay, spoilers now for the movie. If you might hear a quick ad. Right, Kathy, we are on Spoiler Street now. Full spoilers for the movie If. We weren't sitting next to each other. We had two kids between us. So at what point did you realise that Ryan Reynolds was the imaginary friend? How many minutes in? Because I was dying to whisper it to you.
I thought about
1.5 minutes into the film.
I had a thought of actually turning on my phone, which is off, to text you. And then I thought, well, no, his phone will be off, so this won't work. But I wanted to be like, I guessed it. But I only guessed it halfway through the film. So I
went into the movie thinking that was the thing. Having seen the trailer, I thought we knew he was an imaginary friend, and he was one of them.
But for a kid,
and then the movie kind of positioned it kind of differently, and I was surprised, and I was like, oh, but then
Sixth Sense, like, it's a kids' film.
Oh, I know.
Our kids did not guess that.
No, not only here's the thing. Not only did our kids not guess that, they left the film not understanding that he was an imaginary friend.
Oscar got it at the end.
I was like, really? Did he?
Because his heart lit up.
Oh, right, okay.
So Oscar got out there. Now, I would say Elliot the Four-Year-Old had
like,
a
what?
clue what was going on.
I was like, did you know he was...
Very early on in the film, like,
but he
in a
man.
montage. So it's a universe, as we said, it's a you film. It's probably the lightest touch parental death I've ever seen in a kid's film. When you think back to like a Bambi or a Lion King, basically there's kind of a montage, and like only we know that it means the mom's ill. We see her in hospital, she's got like a scarf over her head. Then it cuts forward a few years later and it's just her and her dad.
I thought that was nicely done. It was
really nicely done, and like neither of our kids know the mom died. However, Elliot halfway through the movie turned to me and say, "Where's her mummy?" And I just said, "Oh, I don't know." And then we just kept watching the film. So that's how
Oscar asked me the same thing, and I said, because he was next to me, and I said, "She died."
Oh my God, did you?
Yeah. Well, okay, he's 6. I cannot shield him from the reality of the world.
Not shielding. You just say, "I don't know."
No, but I do know she died.
Anyway, so I thought that was really sad. So obviously I was bawling 2 minutes in. What I was most confused by as a plot in the film is not Ryan Reynolds. John Krasinski is her dad, right? Largely off screen. John Krasinski is apparently very ill and getting like open heart surgery.
Yeah, by the way, movie, how dare you start with a parent dying from illness, which is hard enough, and then like 5 minutes in, raise the stakes to second parent about to die. I mean, are you kidding me? Doubling down.
But they didn't raise stakes on him because inexplicably, like a lot of this film takes place in her visiting the hospital. So he seems to be next door to a paediatric ward, and then he is always in hospital, but never in hospital clothes. He's just hanging around like he's at a spa retreat.
I found his shtick very irritating.
I found him very annoying. At the very end, he presents as ill, but throughout the whole film, is he like on house arrest? Like, what's happening? He's just reading books in his normal clothes, seemingly on a paediatric ward. That made no sense. Every day she brings him fresh flowers and throws the other ones out. Wasteful. Why are we teaching kids to buy fresh flowers, to chuck flowers you bought yesterday? Complete waste of time and money. I loved the kid in the paediatric
Oh my
ward.
God, he's the cutest kid ever.
He was so cute. So I think
he was fantastic.
Where the movie let me down was, never mind that John Krasinski stuff, fine, whatever. It was a bit silly. Where the movie let me down is when we finally got into the magical world of all the creatures. And there was this whole sequence where she used her imagination. Can't help myself, as a Wonka lover, like world of imagination is going through my head. I'm like expecting huge things.
Just wasn't really.
And it just was so flat. And like that's the bit where I was like, there should have been a director, assistant director, whatever. I appreciate John Krasinski's the main director, who's like worked on musicals or something, and who came in and was like, this all needs to be jazzed up a bit.
It was so lifeless.
So flat. Like,
and then it ends in a big musical number. Flat.
The musical number was so flat. I was like, Mandy Moore, we've seen
Come
La La
on,
Land.
Mandy.
What are you doing?
Do you know what? Though the only bit, and I agree with you, that's the point where I thought, okay, that didn't really kick into gear, but we're going to have more interesting things to come. That is the high point of the movie in terms of they're demonstrating their creativity and their imagination.
And some of it was really cool, like the paintings coming out of the paintings.
I was going to say, it's the only bit where I was like, that was great both in idea and execution, and I thought the visual effect of Ryan Reynolds coming through the watercolor painting and the way that movement done was really good and effective.
Kids love that.
And though I loved the way he kept bumping into their paintings and a bit of water would swish out.
That was amazing.
Like,
I loved
that's
all
the
that.
only moment where I was like, this is what I wanted the movie to be. Just demonstrate some wild creativity to me. But no, it was like, you know, you have these imaginary creatures. You can do anything. You can imagine anything. And what are we going to do? We're going to sit them down and have interviews one by one.
Yeah, but that was our kids' favourite scene.
Was it? Okay.
They loved that scene with all the. So you have to like. Our kids were obsessed with the poster before we went in, pointing at all the characters. They were waiting. Elliot kept saying, "When's the marshmallow coming?" Like, he was so excited when that bit was on. So like, I'll forgive it. That was potentially a bit tedious. But what I won't forgive is a big song and dance creative number that like was lackluster. Yeah. What I don't really get, like, I understand they're trying to do the whole like Sixth Sense thing with Ryan Reynolds, but like, what I don't understand is, like, from a kid's perspective, they don't know who he is, right? That actor. I don't think his performance was right. I think there's probably a problem here. I agree. Where I would imagine maybe John Krasinski and him are mates, and John Krasinski wrote it for him because he wasn't gruff enough. Like, I think he should have been real mean and scary, and then in the end turned out to be nice. Like, I didn't understand his character arc. He's just like a mildly narky.
Can you explain to me why he was narky? Because I took Elliot to the toilet at a crucial sort of when she first discovers this room with him and the imaginary
There was
friend.
He was just, oh, it's you. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't think we've met before. And he's like, you wouldn't, or something.
So I guess we're too into it that he is pissed off because she doesn't remember him.
She abandoned him and doesn't remember him.
Yeah.
But he wasn't gruff enough. Like, it just didn't make sense. Like, it just.
I think he's badly cast.
I think someone actually a lot older should have played him, or someone a lot grumpier. I don't know. He wasn't fitting it at all. Like, sorry, but why is her imaginary friend that buff?
Also, exactly.
Like,
why?
He's so muscular.
There's no reason for her to have imagined Ryan Reynolds dressed as a clown.
And
also, sorry, at the end, dress him as a clown. If you're going to say he's a clown,
he was dressed as a clown.
He had no makeup on.
No,
that is not a clown.
He was a sad clown.
That's not a clown.
It happened when her mum was dying. What I thought was interesting though is she basically imagined, and I think this is psychologically interesting, her imaginary friend is basically her dad. Her dad is like a prankster. Like, because why is she picturing a middle-aged man as her imaginary friend?
Okay, that's
But John Krasinski was doing all that hellishly annoying tomfoolery.
So annoying.
Clownish stuff. It's basically her dad's alter ego. So I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
I think there was lots of nice little things in there, like her pictures were hidden and then we would have known at the end there was going to be clues, but like our kids wouldn't have known that. Like, I like it as a kind of an adventure, kind of mystery thing. I don't agree with you around the objectives. I think it's just a girl who's at sea. She's lost one parent. She's thinking another one might die. She kind of finds this imaginative like escape route out of it, and it's really just following that journey. They upped the ante too much where they were suddenly like, oh my god, it's your father, we have to get to the hospital. And she thinks he might be dead, but he's actually completely fine, he's just asleep. Why would anyone scare her like that? Like, why did Fiona Shaw do that to her granddaughter?
I guess there had been a scare, I don't know.
And then they just let her go in the room by herself.
Fiona Shaw, by the way, having what a career resurgence. She's just everywhere now, and I welcome it.
Yeah, we just watched her in
She was in True Detective,
but
she's
like,
in
I just
Andor.
Think it's actually very irresponsible
everywhere.
of them to just throw her into the room with him when he could her not be dying. I didn't really understand what was going on there. And right at the end when she was doing her soliloquy though at the dad, Elliot was like, when's the movie over, Mom?
And me and you were just
falling crying. So I think the film gets a little bit confused in where it's like leaning too much into adults who are nostalgic about losing their own childhood versus keeping an actual child's attention.
Yeah, I think,
and that's really hard balance to strike though.
I just don't think the movie really lands any of its themes particularly well, I'm sorry to say. Like, I was going to bring it up, but you named the elephant in the room, which is Toy Story. You know, it wants to lean into this this idea of these imaginary creatures being left behind, and you know, how do they come to terms with that, and how do they reconnect with those kids, and they can't, and they need to find new kids, and I don't think it's very well mined territory, unfortunately, thanks to several Toy Story sequels, probably too many Toy Story sequels, but that movie just does it in a more effortless way. I never really connected emotionally with any of these creatures or their loss, and some of the scenes kind of ring kind of nice when they get reconnected with their grown-up versions, and I like the idea of, you know, you do always need to revert back. I don't know what's it trying to say. As a grown-up, sometimes you do need something comforting from your childhood.
Yeah, I think it's like it gives you confidence and a hug, and it shows like grown-ups can be uncertain too, but again, I'm not sure who the message is for.
There's good stuff in here. It's just a mess. I'm sorry, it's just really muddled. I don't think any of it really comes together. I
wouldn't call it a mess.
Maybe I'm being a little harsh, but I just was not on the journey with this movie. It doesn't ever kick into gear. When it feels like it's about to kick into gear, it doesn't. It's all a bit flat, as we said, and then the movie just limps towards the finish and nothing really happened.
I think I had a couple of quibbles about the kind of representation of New York. There's a lot of people living in New York City. Real estate's really expensive. Are we to believe that this entire world where each abandoned imaginary friend has their own bedroom in New York City makes any sense? Are we also like, surely there'd be millions of them in there. There's so many people living in New York. The logistics made no sense. I don't know why they said it in New York City. I actually think they should have said it in like a country town somewhere, because it just begged the question of, but why is there only like 30 imaginary friends?
Didn't add anything big
like
in
the New York thing. And I even said, because like Oscar, our son, is like thinks he's obsessed with New York City. And when the movie was over, I said, like, oh, did you know what city she was in? He was like, no. And I said, it was New York City. And he goes, oh.
I mean,
because he hadn't even noticed that. I was like...
There was a whole Coney Island thing.
But, like, they wouldn't get that.
But is Coney Island shut down? That seemed to be, like, abandoned.
No, it wasn't Coney Island. It was, like, some other
It said Coney Island.
Oh, okay, I don't know what that is then. Yeah, I was confused by all that.
I don't know.
Anyway, we need to wrap up, but like, I really wholeheartedly recommend it. I think it's a lovely family film. I think it's good for kids to go to slow-paced movies, and I think it really captured their imagination. Like, funnily, there was a man on his own in the screening, and he left halfway through.
That's how I felt.
Which I found fascinating.
I would have left.
Really?
As well. If I was on my own, I would have left. Yeah, I felt the movie had nothing. The movie had nothing to offer me.
It was busy
except that my kids liked it, and I like that.
And it's a kids'
and
film.
I respect it for that.
And funnily, it was quite busy for our cinema. There was a lot of families there, which I thought was really nice. So I love to see families coming together for the cinema. Right. Let us know what you thought if you have seen If. I think we might have been at a preview screening, but it was in our normal cinema, so
yeah, it said it's not. It's on full release on next Friday.
I'd say they were just bringing it out a weekend early to capture. There was some midterms and stuff like that. Anyway, let us know what you think. Come over to the Cinema on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Letterboxd, or of course come over to patreon.com/cinema where we do kind of regular TV and retro movie reviews.
Yes, and you can hear our thoughts on 2001 A Space Odyssey, which we have just recorded, and we are doing monthly retro movie reviews as well as TV roundup, so you can hear our thoughts on Fallout, X-Men 97, Baby Reindeer, all that stuff is up there.
And coming soon, of course, House of the Dragon.
Yes, yeah, we'll probably do weekly episodes on that.
Yeah. Okay, bye.
As traumatic as it is.
Yeah, bye.
And Mom said too much candy isn't good for your tummy, but I said, oh my God.
Wow, my eyes can taste it.
I'm so sorry.
You don't taste that in your eyeballs?